As promised, we are back with a session on the two-part analysis type of questions that is a part of the data insight section of the GMAT Focus Edition. What we are going to do today is, as usual, we will first take up what does the section look like, what type of questions come, the general strategies that we need to follow while solving these questions, and then we'll try to live solve 2-3 questions of this type so that you understand how to deal with these questions in the most efficient manner and getting the most effective scores. This is how it looks like. Every time you see a paragraph or two, okay, along with information, followed by a set of questions which looks like a 3 column table, that is the type of question that we are talking about as two-part analysis. Okay. The third column actually provides a set of answers to the first two parts, which are practically the question. How it will look like, I will explain you when we actually take up a question. But here, as you can see, that there are some information. So this is the paragraph of information. Okay. And along with the paragraph of information, this is actually a question and this is actually a question. These are answers to the question. So you'll have to actually check out which bubble to fill up for column 1 and which bubble to fill up for column 2. But please remember that answer to both column 1 as well as column 2 is available out of any one of these numbers. Okay, so there is nothing from outside. This is how a typical two-part analysis question look like. Now, therefore, let's go ahead and think that what does it check? There are two types of questions that come in this. One, which checks your mathematical skills. So, therefore, the questions can be related to finding about mean, median, standard deviation, or any other function for that matter. It can be an algebraic expression as well. Okay. So fundamentally, they will check the knowledge of yours in terms of definition of these things. How do you find them? And based on that, they will actually give you options which needs you to calculate either mean, median, or relate a function to the existing conditions that is given in the descriptive paragraph. The other type of question is based on checking your logical reasoning skills. Okay, it can be strengthening or weakening of an argument, or it can be about checking out assumptions that has been taken into that passage and so on and so forth. Okay, which are pure language testing and it has nothing to do with numbers or calculations or even mathematical skills. What are the generic strategies that you need to have while solving these questions? Now, if you remember, last time we had said that while doing table analysis, you don't really need to worry about the descriptive paragraph very hugely. In this, it is completely contrary. You have to read the explanatory paragraph very, very carefully. It actually gives you all the conditions and clarifications regarding the questions. Therefore, if you really don't understand all the conditions and clarifications, you will not be able to solve two-part analysis questions. Also, read all the options. That is the third column. Okay, read all the options. Don't start without considering each possibility offered in the third column. Okay, what are the type of options that has been given will actually help you to decide what type of strategy you take in that specific question. You don't have to worry or assume anything beyond the information given in the paragraph, and therefore stick to the information that has been provided in the question. Be careful in choosing the option. Understand what has been asked in the first column, what has been asked in the second column, and choose therefore correctly. Most of the time what happens is you actually solve the question, but then you mark the option which are opposite to each other. That means you mark the correct option for column 1 in column 2 and mark for column 2 in column 1. Okay. That is because you are, under the pressure of running out of time. There is a countdown clock and etc. So be very careful, because if you have done the work correctly, then you should get the credit for those marks, and therefore for a silly mistake of marking the wrong bubble, you should not be left out for those marks. Remember, the paper is actually adaptive, and therefore a wrong answer actually has an impact on the next question as well. When you have completed it, if you have got enough time within the specific time limits, that's what I suggested as 2.5 to 3 minutes per question, be ready to verify the answers with the conditions once again. Okay, so therefore if you have been able to calculate the question and reach to a correct answer within the first 2 minutes, which is possible, and you will see for yourself when I approach these questions, after you have done that, make sure that you re-verify it once with the conditions given in the question, so that you don't miss out on anything. Okay, once you have done that, the question should be able to be solved in approximately 2.5 to 3 minutes. Actually, in fact, some questions get solved in lesser than that. Let's solve one of the questions that has been given. Okay, I'll give you some time to read. So those who are watching the recording, take a moment's pause the video and read through the question. Now, if you have read through the question already, you will see for yourself what they are talking about is they have given a set of 3 expressions, 2n plus 8, n plus 4 and 6n minus 2. Okay. And they are talking about one additional expression which is not there in this set. So there are total 4 algebraic expressions, out of which 3 has been given in already descriptive paragraph. We will be talking about 4th. And when we take into account the 4th and find out the arithmetic mean of all the 4 numbers, then one of them should be the answer. Now, you have to mix and match. So for example, if you are saying with the 4th expression being 2n, I get my arithmetic mean as 48n plus 32. I'm just taking as a hypothetical scenario. Okay. That means if my 4th set is 2n and my arithmetic mean taking all these 4 numbers into account comes out to be 48n plus 32, then my ideal marking should look like this. The 4th expression, which corresponds to 2n, and taking that into account, my arithmetic mean for the 4 numbers should look like 48n plus 32. That is how you mark the answers. I hope the process is clear. Okay. Now, therefore, let's look at how do I solve these questions. Okay. If you have understood the question within the first 30 to 45 seconds, it requires you to find out 2 things. One, first of all, determine the 4th expression, and taking into account the 4th expression, find out the arithmetic mean. The 4th expression as well as the arithmetic mean is here in this column. So you have to check. Now, the strategy to do it is to first of all understand what is arithmetic mean, and then utilizing that concept to reach to the answer quickly. Let's understand what we are going to do. As you know, that arithmetic mean will mean that I add up 2n plus 4, 2n plus 8, sorry, plus n plus 4, plus 6n minus 2, plus whichever I choose from here, okay, 1/4 expression, and divide it by 4. Whatever result I get should also be available in one of these boxes, in one of these rows, in the 3rd column, right? And then these 2 matches, and we get our final combination of one being the 4th expression, the other being the arithmetic mean. Now, once you have understood that, let's understand one thing very simply. Please understand that these expressions have one numerical part and one alphabet part. The alphabet part, when you divided by 4 and find out the arithmetic mean, the alphabet part will contribute to the alphabet part in the arithmetic mean, and the numerical part will contribute to the numerical part in the arithmetic mean. Okay. Now, just to make you understand that if you just concentrate on the numeric part, that is 8 plus 4, 12 minus 2, we have got 10. Okay. Now, if the fourth part does not have a numerical part, okay, if the fourth part is like 2n, just to take an example, and this is how you shortlist your answer, just 2n, then whatever be the alphabet part, but the numerical part will remain 10, and therefore when you divide it by 4, this numerical part will actually give you a decimal answer. And none of the options have a decimal answer, and therefore you can automatically short out 2n, saying that this cannot be the fourth expression. Okay, so that is how you shortlist an answer. So for example, therefore very clearly 2n cannot be the answer, because if the fourth expression is 2n, then none of the values below can be the arithmetic mean, because the arithmetic mean ought to have a decimal part wala part then. So let's check out 3n plus 2. Let's just concentrate only on the numeric part. Now if you concentrate on the numeric part, 8 plus 4, 12 minus 2, 10 plus 2 gives you 12. So when you divide 12 divided by 4, the last numeric part should have given you 3. Forget about the alphabet part for now. And none of the options have a plus 3. So again, you can throw it out and you can throw it out, and you can say that none of them, if that is the fourth expression, will give you any of the other expressions in that column as an arithmetic mean, and therefore 2n as well as 3n plus 2 cannot be my answer. Okay. Let's check out the third value. Third value has a numeric value of minus 2. Okay. So practically speaking, we now have, if we check on only the numeric value, 8 plus 4, 12, 12 minus 2, 10, we have already done that. Minus 2 gives you 8. So when you divide it by divide it by 4, the numeric expression should give you a plus 2. And there is an expression which gives you plus 2. So therefore, this is worth checking now. Okay. So let's just quickly check, then we will do the full calculation using the third one, that is 3n minus 2 as the fourth element. Okay. So let's quickly check now. So we already know that if you would have used 3n minus 2, then the numerical part would have been plus 2. Let's look at the alphabet part. 2n plus n, 3n. 3n plus 6n gives you 9n. 9n plus 3n would have given you 12n. Divided by 4 would have given you 3n. That means if I choose this as my fourth option, then this comes out as my arithmetic mean. And since this combination works, that will be the only combination that will be working, because there is no possibility of having multiple answers in this type of question. So we already know that if this is my fourth option, then this is my arithmetic mean. And therefore now be very careful. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a rush. I know that if this is my fourth expression, then this is going to be my arithmetic mean. And that is how you mark the answer. If you don't do that, and if you're slightly less careful, because here, okay, you might actually mark one for the other, and that will result in an incorrect answer. Remember one thing, it is not necessary that the bubbles will be into different rows. There is a possibility in these questions that in the same row, both the bubbles can have the correct answer for column 1 as well as column 2. Okay, I hope you understood the question when it comes to numerical sense. Let's try out one question from English as well, or the linguistic section. Okay, again, those who are watching the video, take a pause your video for approximately 30 seconds, read through the question, and then we will be able to generate the answer. All right. I hope you have read through the questions after this 30 seconds break. Okay. Let's now try to understand. They're asking, if you have read the whole story, they're asking, identify the unique assumption which each argument depends on. And therefore, what did Joseph take as an assumption before he gave his point of view? Similarly, what Ronald took an assumption before he gave his point of view. That is what they're asking. Okay, for Joseph it is column 1, for Ronald it is column 2. Now how do I shortlist my answer? If you look at Joseph and if you read the whole story, Joseph does not talk about doctors at all. Okay, Joseph does not talk about doctors at all. So therefore, for you, the information given by Joseph is absolutely about health insurance premiums and clinics and hospitals billing for unnecessary diagnostics and tests. So therefore, how do I shortlist my answer? For Joseph, if you are talking about Joseph, I can easily throw out this answer, that is doctors and anything to do with doctors, because he never talks about doctors, really. So therefore, we are not really worried about doctors here. Now, he is talking about health insurance premium. He is not comparing it with any other type of insurance companies, etc. So therefore, other industries we can definitely throw out. Okay, because he is not comparing. Is he comparing? No. He is only talking about health insurance premiums and diagnostic tests. Okay, by hospitals and etc. Hospitals and clinics. So therefore, even this option is thrown out. Okay. Similarly, any other information which has been given external to the passage given can be thrown out, because that is something which will not be privy to. Okay, so therefore health insurance premiums have increased twice as fast over the last 5 years. Again, is something which Joseph could not have taken as an assumption, because that is not there in the passage. That is the only simple rule that you need to keep in mind. Okay, now if you look at this, he is fundamentally saying that the health insurance premiums are growing because the clinics and hospitals are putting unnecessary diagnostics and tests that inflate the subsequent amount, which fundamentally means that he is saying that this test and diagnostics actually form a significant part of the bills, and therefore very clearly this is his correct assumption. Now remember, this is for Joseph. So while marking it, keep that in mind. For Joseph, I know that in the third column, second row is the correct answer. Okay. Now let's go to Ronald as well. What is Ronald saying? Ronald is talking about that patients and doctors, they are saying that unnecessary diagnostic that you speak about are the results of the decisions made by the doctors on behalf of their patients. He is fundamentally saying that patients don't decide what tests are to be made. Doctors take that call on the behalf of the patients, right? And therefore, if the patients are allowed to choose, maybe the bills will come down, because the patients will have the knowledge and etc. to bring down the bill. They will choose smaller tests, cheaper tests, and so on and so forth. That is what exactly they are talking about. His fundamental presentation or his fundamental viewpoint is patients should be allowed to decide which course of diagnostic they would like to undergo, and not only the doctors. Here the doctors reserve the right to decide on the patient's behalf. That is why the bills are getting inflated. Okay. Now, what is the assumption that you are making again now? Okay. The doctors are generally able to determine with greater reliability which diagnostic patients are most effective results. That is not an assumption he is actually making. He is actually suggesting that patients are also equally capable, because he is actually suggesting that patients should be choosing the sets. So therefore, doctors are generally able to determine with greater reliability. That is not true. Remember, the great reliability, or what we are talking about, or the great reliability of diagnostic procedures we are talking about. He is not doubting that, but he is also saying, as of now, the patients don't choose it. Okay, so we have to find out a relationship between the doctor and the patient, and that is precisely why if it is only about doctors, then you can throw it out, because I want a relationship between the doctor and the patient and the comparison between doctor and patient, because he wants whatever decision has been taken by the doctor on behalf of the patient should now be taken by the patient. So we are talking about a comparison between the doctor and patient, why they are not doing it, why should they do it, how should they do it, and so on and so forth. And therefore the assumption has to give a comparative analysis between the patient and the doctor. Okay, which is why now if you go through it, okay, he fundamentally, there is only one option which says that patients are not as likely as doctors to choose the most expensive diagnostics and tests. He fundamentally is saying agar patients ke paas chhod diya jayega, if the patients are led to decide which they should choose, then patients perhaps will choose a lesser or a cheaper version of the test rather than what the doctors choose. Okay, and therefore this will be the correct answer. Now, therefore, you should remember while doing this question that for Joseph, we had chosen this as the correct answer, and therefore the column goes for Joseph as this. Okay, you just have to choose it. It's an online test, so you click on that radio button and that gets chosen. Similarly, for Ronald, I have to choose this. And that completes your answer. You can submit and that gives the answer. Okay, I hope you got a fair idea about how to approach these questions and how to save time. If you have understood the effectiveness of it, you will see that these questions actually can be solved in less than 2.5 minutes. Maybe not initially, maybe not you are practicing, but as on you practice more, you will be able to solve these questions in less than 2.5 minutes effectively and correctly. Okay, in the subsequent sessions, we'll be talking about graphic interpretation as well as data sufficiency as well. Thank you for watching.